Hello and welcome to Rise Unwind. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week we try to talk to people from across the country about things you could do in your neighborhood. And on this week's show, we got this.
School systems, law enforcement, other organizations can use this e-course, assign it to their students.
Give it a little shake. Don't forget to smile, okay?
All of that and more right here on Rise and Unwind. Have you ever wondered how much hope and healing could grow when people come together during the holidays? For 22 years, the St. Jude Thanks and Giving campaign have teamed up with celebrities, major brands, and pretty much everyday shoppers to help children fighting cancer and other life-threatening diseases. So here to share how this year's campaign continues to the mission started by Danny Thomas is Marlo Thomas, National Outreach Director for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Marlo, I want to thank you for being here, my friend. How are you?
Oh, Dan, I need you more than you need me, I'll tell you that. We're on our campaign, our Thanks and Giving campaign. You know, our motto is give thanks for the healthy kids in your life and give to those who are not. And you can do that very simply this year. Just go to stjude.org or look for our logo. And there's many, many stores in your area, like Domino's, AutoZone, Chili's, K Jewelers, Williams-Sonoma, and Kia. And they're all going to ask you to, make a donation for the children of St. Jude. And I hope you'll do that because I'll tell you the truth, Dan, this is a really hard budget. We have to, it costs us $7 million a day to run St. Jude's Research Center and the hospital. That's a very big nut, and we don't have any paying customers. Everybody comes for free. We pay for their travel, their food, their housing, all their treatments, chemo, radiation, everything. And the housing is for their mom and dad, too. So we want these children to live. We work so hard in our research institution. We go all over the world to find the greatest scientists, the greatest doctors, to come up with their best work, their best trials, so that we can try those trials and treatment on the children in the hospital. And it's working, Dan. It really is working. We're saving so many children's lives, but there still are children dying. And as long as they are, we're going to be there and trying to cure them.
And this is the 22nd year of the tradition. What makes this year's campaign especially meaningful?
I think it's meaningful because we're getting new kinds of laboratories. When this hospital started, my dad opened in '62, it had one small building on 10 acres of land. Now we have 110 acres of land with tremendous towers going up so that we can hold more scientists. The most important thing we can do is to find the cures and the treatments to save these children. The children who come to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital have mostly been given death sentences. Nobody knows how to take care of them. In fact, we don't even know. We have to come up with new treatments to save these children. That's the business that St. Jude Children's Research Hospital is in. Research and taking it to the clinic. And it's very exciting. AML, acute myeloid leukemia, has been a killer for years. In the 90s, the survival rate was around 30%. We've just come out now in December that we're now saving 88% of the children with that AML, which has been a killer for many, many years.
Well, Marlo Thomas, I want to thank you for hanging out with me this morning. We're running out of time, but I want to thank you for all of the hard work and dedication that you do for this every single year and changing so many lives. So
thank you for having us, Dan. Thanks so much.
And to support this year's Thanks and Giving campaign, visit stjude.org or donate at participating retailers, restaurants throughout the holiday season. Every contribution helps ensure families never receive a bill from St. Jude or treatment, travel, housing, or food so they can focus on their child's healing. Marlo, I really want to thank you for being here today.
Thank you. God bless.
For many women, menopause symptoms go far beyond discomfort and start impacting everyday life. Today, we're joined by Dr. Diana Bitner, Chief Medical Officer of True Women's Health, and Wendy Lee Curtis, who's sharing her firsthand experience. It's great to have you both here with us. How are you?
Thank you. We're very happy to be talking about menopause.
Thanks for having us, Dan.
All right, Wendy, I don't want to get too personal, but what has it been like for you dealing with moderate to severe hot flashes due to menopause?
Oh, boy. Well, every woman's experience is different. I have what you would call moderate to severe hot flashes that can come on suddenly, and they can happen anytime, any place. And when they're severe, for me, they really, really impact whatever's going on in my life, whether I'm at work or at home or hanging out with friends. They're unignorable.
Okay, with terms like severe and moderate, how can you tell where people fall on that spectrum?
That's a great question for Dr. Bitner.
So hot flashes and night sweats or vasomotor symptoms can be mild, moderate, or severe. Moderate hot flashes tend to start as a warmth in the chest and can just envelop a person where they're just even come out of the top of the head. They're distracting, but there's not a lot of sweating. A severe hot flash or night sweat is where there's sweating, significant distraction. It just can stop a woman in her tracks.
There's a newly FDA-approved hormone-free treatment. What is it called, and what do the clinical trials show?
Sure. So Lynkuet is a novel hormone-free prescription therapy that is FDA approved, and it was backed up by data from the OASIS clinical trial program. The trial program was used to study the efficacy and the safety of this new drug, Lynkuet, and it was shown to be effective by even 1 week for some women, and for sure by 4 and 12 weeks.
And safety, it's always a big question. What can you share about Lynkuet in that area?
It's very important to talk about safety. It can, first of all, it can cause nervous side effects. So for example, for women who have a history of seizures, it could increase the risk of seizure. Women who are pregnant should not take Lynkuet. It can cause side effects such as fatigue and headache, which were the most common, but also rash, stomach ache. And we recommend that people go to the product information for more information at lynkuet.com.
And Wendy, for people that are powering through symptoms quietly, what should you want them to know?
Don't do that. I am not on Lynkuet. But the one thing I would say is be absolutely relentless in seeking support. You know, do not be afraid to describe your symptoms and discuss options with your healthcare team. It's vital. There are many options that are out there, and you should not be afraid to have those discussions. It might take some time, so I need you not to get discouraged and just know that you're worth all of the work of finding those answers for yourself, and just keep going. You got this.
All right, sounds good. You got this. All right, where can people go for more information?
They can go to the website lynkuet.com. That's Lynkuet. And I recommend that women talk to their doctor to see if Lynkuet is right for them.
Dr. Bitner, Wendy, thank you too for joining me this morning.
Thanks for having the conversation.
Appreciate you.
Have you ever watched a true crime show and wondered, where's the line between justice and entertainment? There's a new documentary called Predators that takes a hard look at Dateline's To Catch a Predator and the world that grew around it. Emmy and Peabody award-winning director David Oza is pulling back the curtain on the show's legacy and what it says about us as viewers. David, I want to thank you for being here, my friend. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Okay, for people who only remember To Catch a Predator as a big TV moment, how do you describe what Predators is really about?
My film is really unpacking the legacy of this show, which was this segment on Dateline NBC in the 2000s that would set up a hidden camera in a sting house where men who were having online chats of a sexual nature with decoys who were pretending to be minors would then show up to a house, meet the decoys, then meet a journalist named Chris Hansen. He'd then interview them, being filmed by hidden cameras, tell them that they were being filmed on a TV show, that they were free to go, but then they'd be arrested by law enforcement. This happened hundreds of times. The show was a sensation. And we really weren't very critical about what was happening when this was airing because we'd never seen anything like it before. This existed on the internet back when everyone was fluent in the internet, but before social media. So we really were just exploring this new phenomenon as far as we were concerned. At the time of just, wow, the internet's a scary place. And we found a way to enjoy this news program. Now, I think that what happened then is that we created a template for a modern true crime, which is that you have journalism and law enforcement working together to create some type of entertainment. And that's really one of the legacies of To Catch a Predator.
So when you started digging into the story, what surprised you most about how the show actually worked behind the scenes?
I think when I started to really understand one particular element of the show, it sort of stood out to me, which is that these men were already able to be charged with a crime before they ever showed up to the sting house. The crime is online solicitation of a minor, but then they show up at the house and they could be arrested right then and there, but instead they're interviewed by a journalist who's not telling them who he is necessarily. And then they're filmed, and then they're told they're free to go, and then they're arrested. So all that part, that middle part, is kind of theater, and it's all for us to watch at home. So when I started to think about that, I started to realize, well, there's a huge component of this that's really just entertainment. And it's not the first time in the world where you reach people and give people something to watch, and then that moves the needle on a national conversation. But how does that then shift into maybe potentially that kind of entertainment becoming used more flippantly, more randomly, and disregarding potentially the human cost of what that entertainment creates? Those are some of the questions I liked to get into when I made the film.
And the film really leans into some like ethical gray areas. You got the stings, the cameras, the way audience reacted. What are some of the biggest questions that you wanted viewers to wrestle with when they watch this?
To be completely honest with you, one thing I'm really eager for viewers to wrestle with in terms of questions is actually just how they feel watching the show, or my show rather. I'm a documentary filmmaker. I'm also asking people to consider certain things about, what do I do for a living? What do all of us do for a living when we're telling people's stories? There's some things in my film that are hard to watch. There's some things in my film that I think will make you laugh. There's a big journey in this story, because I'm asking you to consider kind of what your own line is, of where you'll draw the line between whether something is too much about entertainment or whether something's good intentions justify it being entertaining. And we don't have answers to that. Everyone has their own answer to that question. We all kind of have our own line in the sand about what we think. Well, it's actually more like a line in asphalt, because it really is hard to change how we feel about whether something is right or wrong. And we don't like it when people try to change it for us, I've noticed in society. So my film's kind of about asking those questions and asking you, how do you feel when you watch some of this material? How does it make you feel?
And you talked to some former decoys, the host, and people who were directly affected by the show. Was there a particular interview or moment that changed the way you saw this whole phenomenon?
Not one particular interview or moment, although I spent time talking to Chris Henson in the film and many of the decoys who were involved in the story. All of it was very interesting and compelling to me, and in part made me think again about, well, I'm, for example, asking some people in the film to recollect some pretty hard moments. There was an incident of a man in Texas who took his own life when the camera crews and the police came to his house to arrest him for the sting. To Catch a Predator. And I interviewed some people who were involved with that story. And I asked them to bring up, some hard memories. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, like, I hope I'm not traumatizing these people. But again, those are the kind of questions that I think you only start asking when you're thinking about what are the ethics of making stories out of people's lives. Documentaries have been doing that for years. True crime's been doing that for years. But this film's really not just about To Catch a Predator, but it's about the ethics of how we tell stories.
And as you were saying, that true crime is bigger than ever right now. After making Predators, how do you hope people think differently about the shows and content that they are choosing to watch and their role as an audience?
Not to sound like a broken record, but I don't want to tell people specifically what I want them to think, because that's our problem, I think, in our society, is that we've got a lot of people telling you all the time what you should think about something. And I just want you to go on a journey with this movie. I designed it so that it challenges the way you feel at all times about what you're watching and looking at. And there's going to be times when you're uncomfortable, and there's going to be times when the person sitting next to you, who you thought was your BFF, might be making you uncomfortable because they disagree with you or you disagree with them. But I think that is the hard thing about being a human being, is that sometimes we disagree with each other. It doesn't mean we are wrong. It means we're just complicated. And this is a show about trying to take complication away. There's good guys and bad guys. And I do think the world is more complicated than that. It's not about defending child predators. It's not about making you feel bad for them. It's about asking you to consider, how do we treat people?
David, I want to thank you for joining me today. Predators is now streaming on Paramount Plus. So if you remember To Catch a Predator or just want a smarter take on true crime, this is one to check out. David Ozit, thank you so much once again for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
Do you ever hear people say, I should be fine, but you could tell something deeper is going on? Major depressive disorder affects more than 20 million adults, and for many, treatment can be a frustrating journey. Today, we're joined by Amy Belknap, a board-certified psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, to help us better understand MDD and what's changing in treatment options. It's great to have you here, Amy. How are you?
I am well, thank you for asking. And thank you so much for the opportunity to work with Johnson & Johnson to educate on major depressive disorder, especially this time of year. It's so apropos, and talking about some possible new treatment options.
So when people hear the words major depressive disorder, what are the signs and symptoms they should be actually looking for, and how widespread is it?
Well, about 22 million adults in the United States struggle with the symptoms of major depressive disorder. It is the most common psychiatric disorder that we manage, and it affects people in the way they think, the way they feel, the way they act, the way they perceive the world. It can be devastating to them, to their families, and even to their communities. It carries tremendous economic burden, and it is the #1 cause of disability in the United States.
So what kind of treatments are typically available for someone living with MDD today?
So the standard really is to start with an oral antidepressant. And in some cases, this works really well. But in about 2 out of 3 people, they still experience residual depression symptoms or breakthrough symptoms, where they have these periods of depression return. And so we back up just a little bit and we think, oh, wait, depression's not a one size fits all. There's not one cause. There's not one treatment. It's very complicated, and it has lots of variables that are involved. It affects many areas of the brain. And so this really underscores that need for more new and differentiated treatments. And research has shown that adjunct treatment, in other words, adding a second medication to your oral antidepressant, can bolster and increase the effectiveness of both. The key is in both of them, the combination treatment. And that's what we're talking about today, which is Caplyta.
So what is this new treatment approval, and why is it significant for patients who still have symptoms?
So Caplyta, or lumateperone, was recently approved by the FDA for treatment of adjunct to an oral antidepressant in adults with a major depressive disorder. And it really does have the potential to reset the way we think about treatment potential or treatment options with our patients. Now, there is no cookie cutter treatment for major depressive disorder. And what works for one may not work for another. There are just too many variables. But that's where having that conversation with your healthcare provider comes in so close. We have to have that vulnerable, honest, forthright conversation with your healthcare provider and tell them what you're really feeling and what you're really expressing. And then you can say, hey, is Caplyta right for me? And maybe it is. But they'll definitely talk to you about the potential benefits, but also the potential side effects, which would be like somnolence, sedation, dizziness, dry mouth, and some of those kind of things. The key with depression is it has to be tailored to you because there's so many different forms. And so your healthcare provider really is the ticket or the linchpin to make that happen, because your healthcare provider really is an expert in you.
And for families and friends watching, how can they support someone with MDD, especially if some of those past treatments have not worked?
The key is to normalize what they're experiencing. Have that hard conversation where you say, hey, I've noticed that you're not really participating in whatever it was that you used to really enjoy. I noticed you're not doing this, or you seem sad. Are you okay? And have that conversation and normalize that, because if 22 million adults in the US have this condition, they're not that unique. They are, open up and be open and say, hey, I'll help you call. I'll even drive you to your healthcare provider's office. There's a fantastic a fantastic resource that I found very helpful, which is caplyta.com. And it really helps to kind of think about things to discuss with your doctor and help tailor that treatment. And as all things, the healthcare provider is the key, is getting the person, helping them, supporting them, normalizing the way they feel so that they feel comfortable going in and talking honestly with their healthcare provider.
One more time, can you give us that website for more information?
It's caplyta.com. C as in Charlie, APLYTA.
Amy Belknap, I want to thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you so much. Have a marvelous holiday season.
Electric bikes are becoming more popular every year, especially with kids and families. And with the holidays coming up, a lot of e-bikes might be showing up under the tree. But with the popularity also comes some safety concerns, especially for riders who may not know the rules of the road. So joining us today is Andrea Yu, a Motorcycle Safety Foundation rider coach and longtime road and mountain bicyclist, here to break down e-bike safety basics and talk about a new online course designed to help keep riders safer. Andrea, it's great to have you here with us. How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Thanks for being here today. And for anyone who is new to this, what exactly is an e-bike?
So an e-bike stands for an electric bicycle. So the one thing that all e-bikes have in common is they must have a functioning pedal. That means you have to be able to pedal the bike to have it actually be an e-bike. Anything without a functioning pedal is probably not an e-bike and may not be legal for the roads. Now, there are 3 recognized classifications of e-bikes. I have a class 1 e-bike that provides a pedal assist of up to 20 miles per hour. So again, that means you've got to be pedaling the bike for it to give you that electric boost. There's also a class 2 e-bike providing pedal assist up to 20 miles per hour, but the class 2 you can actually operate with just a throttle only. And there's a class 3 e-bike that provides a pedal assist of up to 28 miles per hour. So anything that doesn't fall in these classes may not be an e-bike and may not be legal for the roads.
What kind of important safety information does the e-bike e-course cover for riders?
Yeah, as you mentioned, e-bikes are getting more and more popular. So it's really important for riders to stay safe out there on the roads, especially for newer and younger riders. So the e-bike e-course covers rules of the road, safe riding strategies. It teaches kids how to ride with cars and pedestrians. There's also a lot of information about basic e-bike maintenance, safety tips, and also it provides practice drills that they can do on their own. So that's covered in the e-bike e-course, and what's really great about it too is that school systems, law enforcement, other organizations can use this e-course, assign it to their students, and then track their progress, make sure they've completed it before maybe handing out parking passes, or law enforcement, maybe you get a citation and instead of doing driver's ed, you could do like e-bike e-course education.
So who is this course really designed for, and who should be taking it?
While it's designed for younger riders in mind, this course is great for people of any age because there's a lot of valuable information there. We really encourage parents to take the e-course with their kids. So if you give an e-bike for a Christmas present, it's really great to include some safety as part of that present.
And beyond the course, do you have any other safety tips you'd want riders to keep in mind?
Absolutely. So helmets. Helmets not only save lives, they come in a lot of fun colors, fun styles. You just have to make sure you know how to put it on properly and make sure it's fitted properly. If you need help with that, a lot of bike shops can provide a lot of great information. Also, protect your eyes. So there are bicycle-specific eyewear out there, but you can also use quality sunglasses or prescription eyeglasses. And think about protecting your hands too. So there's some great bike gloves, bicycling gloves out there. These are black, but they come in a lot of fun colors, fun styles as well. And of course, the days are getting shorter and shorter, which means you want to consider wearing light-colored clothing. This way, car drivers can see you more easily. Other accessories you can get are lights for your bike to also make you shine a little more brightly. Lights. There's also mirrors you can get for your bike, reflectors. Those are great gifts too. And of course, for safety, don't ride distracted. So things happen quickly out on the roads. Put those phones away and just make sure you focus on riding. And of course, before you start your ride, check over your e-bike. Make sure it's charged up, make sure your tires are properly inflated, and that your brakes work.
If people want to learn more, where can they go for additional information?
Go to ebikecourse.com. You can sign yourself up. You can sign your kids up. You can also inquire about bulk enrollment. Again, if you're a school district, law enforcement, or any other organization, this is a great way to get more and more people educated on safety of e-bikes.
Andrea, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
Do you ever notice how holiday gatherings look a little different these days? People are mixing non-alcoholic options, lighter twists on classics, and really trying to make hosting feel balanced for everyone. Today, we're joined by Anna Fitzgibbons and Fernando Salza from Diageo North America, here to share what's shaping modern holiday hosting and walk us through a simple live demo you could try at home. Anna, Fernando, welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
You're doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing good. Okay. Fernando, can you walk us through the top holiday hosting trends you're seeing this year?
Absolutely. Again, thank you for having us. So social occasions and social interactions are really taking more of a mindful approach with a focus on balance, wellness, and intention. And with that comes empowerment. And really what I like to think the leading trend is choice, making sure that consumers understand that there's choices no matter where they are, hosting at home, out in bars and restaurants, or even at your holiday party. Being able to really understand those choices between full serve alcohol cocktails, lower alcohol cocktails, and of course, non-alcoholic cocktails. Those are really, really trending right now.
And keeping those trends in mind, what are you going to show us today in your little demo?
Yeah, so today we're going to be showcasing a cocktail called the Citrus Flame, and that is a vodka-based cocktail utilizing the Smirnoff Spicy Tamarind Vodka. We're also utilizing a staple this month, which I'm sure everyone has in their freezer right now, getting ready for the holidays, and that's vanilla bean ice cream. I recommend as a pro tip just to melt that ice cream before throwing it in your cocktail shaker with everything else. But again, that spicy tamarind vodka, a little bit of vanilla bean ice cream, a touch of cane sugar, and freshly squeezed lime juice. That's just going to balance everything out. We're going to put that in a shaker tin filled with ice, give it a little shake. Don't forget to smile, okay? Perfect, all right. Just want to shake it 5 to 10 seconds. You really want to make sure you emulsify all those ingredients together. And then grab your favorite cocktail glass. I love these beautiful Nick and Nora glasses. It really just elevates and gives it a nice elegance to this cocktail serve. And look at that color pop. It's like really, really beautiful and decadent for this time of year. But of course, it wouldn't be the holidays without a proper holiday garnish. So that's what we have for you today, with a little bit of dark chocolate shavings just right on top, and then some aromatics and a little pop of color with some lime zest. And you can find this recipe in our Serve and Sip book, which Anna will run you through a little bit on that as well.
All right, so what are some ways that people can practice more mindful hosting this holiday season?
Yeah, so mindfulness is all about intentionality and it's all about caring. And so I always like to think if I'm hosting, I'm taking care of those who I've welcomed into my home. And that means really thinking about their journey from the moment they walk in through the door to the moment they leave. So I like to welcome my guest with a non-alcoholic cocktail so that everyone feels included as they're coming in. And then I like to have a couple of different options for them, maybe a theme if I'm feeling super festive, and tie those cocktails, whether they're non-alcoholic, lower alcohol, or traditional ones, with my food pairings. Offer some water. It can be some infused water. That's a really fun way to kind of have some fun and show off. And then I also like to make sure that they have a safe plan to get home. So really welcoming them and making sure they leave responsibly. But in between, my favorite tip is kind of counterintuitive. And that is, if people are enjoying an alcoholic beverage, don't let them, don't top off their drink before giving them a new cocktail. That seems again counterintuitive. You think, oh, empty glass, I may not be performing as well as I could be as a host. That's actually perfectly fine. By letting them finish their one drink before pouring a new one, you're helping them keep track of how much alcohol they're actually consuming. And that way they can decide whether they want to zebra stripe for the evening or if it's maybe time to call it a night.
Excellent. All right, where can our viewers go if they want more tips and maybe some resources?
Yeah, so if you want to find out how to make this amazing cocktail, which by the way smells so good, and can be made with no alcohol or lower alcohol, as can any other cocktail in our book, it is absolutely free at diageo.com/serve-and-sip3. That's Diageo, diageo.com/serve-and-sip, and the number 3, because it is our 3rd volume. And if you want to know more about how alcohol affects your mind and body, you can visit drinkiq.com.
Hey, I want to thank you too for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, I want to thank you for tuning in to Rise Unwind. If you want to be part of the show, just go to our website, riseunwindtv.com, fill out the form, send it in. Maybe you could be on a future episode. We're on social media, Facebook and Instagram. Plus, you can find our YouTube channel at Rise Unwind. And until next week, that was the show we like to call Rise and Unwind.